All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about AI in SEO. It's something that I have resisted talking about for a number of reasons, mostly because I'm sick of talking about AI because everyone talks about AI. And at this point, it seems kind of like a buzzword, like people talk about AI and we're doing this with AI and AI, and they seem to bring it up just because they think it makes them sound interesting or something. I don't know. But there is no question that it is not only taking over our lives, it is specifically taking over the world of search. And this is the part that I do find interesting about AI is how it's affecting SEO. A lot of people ask me about if I'm threatened by AI as a writer, if I think AI is going to replace me. No, I don't. Short answer there. But what I do find interesting is how it's affecting SEO. So it's not changing how I'm writing as of right now, but it will probably change how I approach content marketing and SEO strategy. So, that being said, let's get into what's happening in the world of AI when it comes to SEO, otherwise known as search engine optimization. I just like to clarify that for anyone who's like, what does SEO stand for again? I used to refer to it as making Google your friend, right? And Google still owns the vast majority of the online search market. They've dropped from 90 something percent to like 87% or something last time I checked, right? So they're still dominating the market, but they are losing ground to things like ChatGPT and SearchGPT. Now, my problem with using ChatGPT as a search engine is it was not designed to do that, and it gives a lot of wrong information. So as a user, as someone looking for information online, that is my caveat is please do not use ChatGPT. And if you do, verify the information that it gives you because you don't know where it's coming from. Now, we have Search GPT, which is by the same company, OpenAI, and it is designed as a search engine. So that's interesting. Then, of course, at the same time, we have Google's AI overviews, which is just Google's AI of scraping the existing content and going, here you go. So I want to dive into that a little bit more as far as what those kinds of search engines are doing, what they're giving people, how people are interacting with and using those tools, and what we as marketers and business owners can do about it. So, first and foremost, AI summaries. This is it. So, this is why I never talk about generative AI because there is no generative AI. There's repurposed AI. There's AI repurposed content because it scrapes content that some human or humans created and it rearranges it into something that it thinks that we want. And it goes, here you go. Is this what you're looking for? Or my favorite way to use AI is when I dump a bunch of information into ChatGPT or tool of your choice, and I have it organize the information for me into whatever I want. That I have found to be super useful. So highly recommend doing that. But what that means is AI is really good at organizing information and it's taking a bunch of information and summarizing it for us. It's like our very own Cliff's Notes, right? If you're my age, Cliff's Notes were the things that we read when we didn't want to read a book for school, but we wanted to be able to take the test and participate in class discussions and sound like we had read the book. We would read the Cliff's Notes version. So now we all have the Cliff's Notes version of everything that's out there. So if AI is summarizing content, what does that mean for us as marketers? How do we adjust for that? First and foremost, if you want AI to mention your brand, which let's be honest, AI is the future of search for sure, arguably the present of search. It's probably not even the future. It's like it's already here. Let's be real. So, if we want to stay up to date and continue to be relevant, we have to figure out how to work with this. We have to get AI to mention our brands. And the way to do that is to organize your content in a way that AI can easily scan and summarize and go, here you go, here's what so and so over at this website said. The good news is that means doing a lot of the same stuff that we've already been doing to make Google happy, optimizing the metadata, organizing it into subheadings, and so that AI can those robots can quickly scan the information and go, okay, this is what it's about. We've got this section and this section and this section, and it all adds up to this, and here we go. So continue doing that. Continue optimizing your metadata and using lists are still really great. Subheadings are still really great. Continue organizing it into a way. I mean, again, this is also something you should do for us humans because humans also like content that is easily scannable and well organized. So continue doing that. The difference is that we have interactive content now. Um, I mean, ChatGPT and SearchGPT already do this. Again, ChatGPT, it's in the name, ChatGPT. It's not designed as a search engine, it's designed as a chatbot. So you can ask it a question and it gives you an answer, and you can continue asking it different questions to try and get more information out of it. So now Google, just a couple months ago, announced that it has launched an additional feature of AI overview called AI mode, which is the same idea. People can interact with the content. So you get the AI overview when you ask it a question. When you look for something on Google, you get the AI overview, and now you can ask it questions and go, okay, well, what about this? Or you said such and such, but what about this over here? That means that and people are getting more and more, again, it's not just AI overviews on Google. That's kind of the future of AI, and that's how people are increasingly using AI is more of an interactive. They ask it a question, it gives an answer. They ask deeper questions. They want to go deeper and deeper. So what that means is, again, when it comes to formatting your content, formatting it in that Q&A style can, again, make it really easy for people for the robots to scan your content and then use the answers that you give in those searches in those interactions that it's having with people. So that means the FAQ style posts are still going to be popular. So include those questions in your content. Here's the question that I hear a lot. Here's the answer. Here's another question I hear a lot. Here's the answer. If you have interview style content, whether it's podcasts or live videos or a blog post that's in an interview format, where you interview another professional in your industry or in a related industry, absolutely publish that as is. I mean, edit it for clarity and get all the ums and uhs out and all that good stuff. But you do still want their question and then your answer. Or sorry, your question and then their answer. Hopefully you're interviewing them. Although this can work the other way around where someone interviews you and you put that up on your blog. Absolutely take advantage of that kind of content. That's just always good content. And that's a good way for both of you to build your audiences by interviewing each other. And that way you can cross promote to each other's audiences. So great way to get that extra visibility, but it's also really good for the robots because the robots are using that Q&A type content to interact with the real live humans who are using it to interact with them. This also means the riches are in the niches, right? So this has always been the case. It's going to be more true than ever now. So again, because AI is all about scraping existing content and summarizing it and going, here you go, this is my answer for you, and pretending that it's its own answer, right? That means if you get really local and really specific about who you are, what you're doing, who you're doing it for, the more you can narrow it down, the less competitive it's going to be. There are not going to be a whole lot of other people out there doing that exact thing, creating that exact content, which is going to make it harder for AI to summarize that. So that's going to be a really great way for the people still using Google. That's going to be a great way to get those searches that are not AI overviews. And you do still get people looking for those, right? That's why we have those long tail keywords. And if you've seen my past videos on what long tail keywords are, if you have not seen them, a long tail keyword, short tail keyword is like 1 to 2 words, right? Long tail keyword is 3 to 5 words, sometimes even longer, especially as we get more chat based and more interactive. The questions people are asking of Google and SearchGPT get even longer, right? So that's when people are looking for something really specific. The 1 to 2 keywords is I'm just looking for something really broad. I want to know what this is. Tell me about such and such. And I'll get a little more into that in a bit. But those really specific keywords, if I need someone who does this thing for these people in this place, period, there are not going to be a whole lot of people who do that or a whole lot of companies who do that. So focus down on your ideal client, your target audience, and what you do for them and the problem that you specifically solve for them and how you solve it for them. And that's going to be a really great way to stand out, regardless of what the robots are doing. And then you yourself, again, this has been increasingly valuable in the world of SEO for the past few years now. I certainly since ChatGPT came out, maybe even before ChatGPT came out, is Google looks at your expertise in addition to your authority and your knowledge and your trustworthiness, right? It goes, well, how do you know this, right? So talk about it. Talk about, yeah, I had this conversation with so and so, or I had this client who was struggling with this issue. This is how we addressed it. This is the result we got for them. So case studies are still going to be really super important, but sharing that personal experience, say you, and it doesn't even have to be, it should be personal whenever possible. But as long as you can explain, like, hey, here's my position on this, here's my hot take on this, here's why I have this position, here's why I believe this to be true. That is what sets you up as a thought leader. Robots can't do that. Robots are just going to tell you the way that they see it, or again, the way that most of the content that they scraped for you says that it is, and they're just going to produce that as true. So that thought leadership is what is really going to be, it is currently valuable, is going to continue to be valuable going into the future in terms of setting yourself apart and being kind of AI proof, right? Is, well, I really want to know what this specific person thinks about this, right? I don't really care about what Google says or the robots. I want to know what so and so says. That's how you set yourself up as the thought leader, and the go-to person. The analogy I hear over and over again is Taylor Swift, right? And all her fans, all the Swifties, are in love with Taylor Swift. They feel on a certain level, they know, even if they've never met Taylor Swift, they know logically there's no real connection there, but they feel a connection to Taylor Swift. A robot can arguably create the same songs or similar enough sounds to what Taylor Swift is producing, but they are not Taylor Swift. They're not gonna have a fan base that is a die-hard fan base because only someone who has made that emotional connection with their audience can do that. So be, I mean, don't be Taylor Swift, obviously. There's only one Taylor Swift, but be your version of Taylor Swift and put that out there. And obviously, you don't have to put your whole life out there. You don't have to get super personal, but show enough of your personality that people feel like they get to know you as a person. And that's what's going to build that emotional connection with your audience. And that is irreplaceable. SEMrush had a whole report that they published on Google's AI overviews. I encourage you to check that out. In the meantime, I did want to just kind of briefly go over it, what the study found, and they did thousands and thousands of searches to see which searches triggered an AI overview, as well as some of the growing trends they're seeing when it comes to those AI overviews. So first of all, it was still only like 14 or 15% of all of their searches that triggered an AI overview. So it's still the minority of online searches are getting that AI overview. But that's growing and it's growing fast. So maybe even as you're seeing that, that's already changed. Zero-click searches. So this is interesting because zero-click, I tend to think of AI overviews as being like the next iteration of zero-click searches, right? We saw this even before ChatGPT. Google was like, if people just want a quick answer, quick, easy answer to a quick, easy question, we're going to give them that quick, easy answer to this quick, easy question, right? And so it would give you that answer right on the page, on Google's page. So you never even had to click through to a website. Great for the user. Great. How many teaspoons in a tablespoon? 3 teaspoons. Okay, great. I don't have to click through to, the Williams-Sonoma website or whatever to see that. I can just see it right on Google and go back to the kitchen, right? Great for users, not so great for the people who work so hard to create that content to get people to their websites, which makes things a little tricky. But again, people aren't doing that just to see our content, right? Like Google isn't here for us, the marketers and business owners. Google is here for the users. So what I found interesting when it came to the Google's AI overview is that it's not always a zero-click search. A lot of them are. A lot of people will look at Google's AI overview and go, okay, great, thanks, and go back to their day. But right next to Google's AI overview is the links to the sources that it used to get that information. So people can click through and it's right there. It's not as prominent as the AI overview, but it's like the next prominent thing. So I do think that that is going to lead to more clicks through AI overviews, but not always. We have seen some companies that get more visibility through the AI overviews, but fewer click throughs and less traffic to their website. That being said, if you're getting mentioned in an AI overview and people are seeing that, remember that brand recognition is still super important. So maybe they're not going over to you, and I'm going to talk about this again in just a second. We're going to dive more into this, but maybe they're not going to your website for that informational type content. But when they need someone who to provide that product or service or whatever it is they're looking for, that's when they're going to go to your website because they already know your brand, because they've seen it pop up in the AI overviews, they've seen it pop up in Search GPT. Now they're ready to buy from you. Now they're going to go straight to your website. So this gets us to our next point of rethink your funnel. So the SEO gold used to be in that informational stage, right? Top of the funnel. We think of there's awareness and then engagement and then convincing, and then finally they buy from you. The awareness stage is where it used to be an awesome time to build, get that SEO, get those rankings, get those people to your website when they're just like, what is content marketing? What does SEO stand for again? What do I need to know about this? That's when they start looking for information. And you, in the past, would lead them to your website with those types of content, the blog posts that are the how to, the what is, all of those topics that I used to recommend people focus on for most, not all, but most of their blog posts. That was awesome for SEO. And then hopefully you had a good understanding of how to engage and convert those leads when they were in the early stages so they could keep getting content from you as they went through the different stages of the buyer journey. So by the time they're ready to buy or hire, they're ready for you because they've gotten all this content from you. You've educated them. They're ready to, they know that you are the one they want to work with because you are the go-to person for them. So now that's not so much the case because now most of the searches that are triggering that AI overview are informational searches. So I'm not going to say don't worry about the AI, the awareness stage, the top of the funnel content at all, but don't focus on it so much. That should now be like the least amount of content that you provide should be that top of the funnel. Most of your content should all be focused on that mid to later stage of the buyer journey because that's when it's going to be hard for AI to compete with you. So rethink your funnel. Now what? What does all this mean? So whether people are using Search GPT or Google's AI overviews or another form of AI to get answers to their questions, the fact remains that they are using and will continue to use AI to look for information. But it's also true that they're always going to want to dive deeper into a topic. And sometimes that means chatting with AI and asking it a bunch of questions. But at some point, they're going to have to get to someone's website to talk to someone, to fill out a form, to talk to, schedule a consultation with a real live human to buy the thing, hire the person, hire the team, whatever it might be. So that means, like I said, you have to focus less on less on top of the funnel and more on mid and bottom of the funnel. So just don't make the top of the funnel the focus of your content strategy. Make it kind of tangential, touch on it every now and then, but really focus on that mid to late stage. Focus on creating Q&A type content, niche down, and share not only your personality, but also your personal experiences, because that is what is going to make you the thought leader. So that is it. That is everything that I have for you for now on AI and AI in the world of search. Specifically, if you have any questions about this, about what it means, about how to create content, how to create your content strategy to account for all this, I would love to talk to you. So you can find more information like this over on my website if you want that information, not from an AI bot, right? You can find that over on my website at AV, as in my initials, Allison Verhalen, that is avwritingservices.com. That's all over on my blog. And then you can reach me directly via email at info@avwritingservices.com. That's it. Have a great weekend. Happy blogging, everyone.